Welcome in, everybody, to a Thursday night edition of the Joe Quills Show. Joe Quills here with you, and I don't think I need to blur the background here tonight. So, anyways, you're with me here on Thursday night here, having some fun here. Get through your Thursday night here. Do want to thank again everybody who was around for yesterday's show, the birthday show. Usually I disappear for my birthday, but I was like, no, I'm still going to stream. But I do appreciate everybody who did do that yesterday. So, going to still have some fun here tonight, and I don't think it's going to be a long stream tonight. But usually when I have short streams like this, it ends up turning into a long stream. So we'll see what happens. I do have the headphones nearby in case I invite somebody onto the stream like I did last night with SJ. So, don't have that much to talk about. We'll talk about Shohei Ohtani making history in Miami and the ugly part of baseball that I do not like came into play yet again. Dan Campbell had to move. We'll get into that. Mascara boy, Derek Carr, he got fined this week. And got some old news here. It's going to relate to the Philly Phade, and which reminds me, I got to grab that piece of paper because I have my picks there. Apparently, Portland State went Oregon Trail on last week's opponent. But let me grab my notes here, my football pick notes, and we can get started here. I do apologize. And of course, I'm a little sidetracked tonight because I was pretty much ready to go. And then I was like, oh, where's my phone? Oh, where's this? Oh, where's that? But we're here now. We're ready to go here. And hopefully everything will be just fine here. And, and as always, you feel free to chime in the chat room. As long as it's within reason, But the one thing I will say is I did really enjoy last night's show, and that is because I have when I do my show, I have the screen here, and I also have a rolling comment board. And my rolling comment board is different from what you would see on X, what you see on YouTube, and what you see on Twitch. Mine actually covers all three at the same time. So, but it was all Twitch I was going because the most active people were on Twitch last night. So, it was hard to keep up, but it was good that I was not able to keep up, and that's a good thing because you know what? It shows that people were interested in the show last night, whether it was just to make me feel good because it was my birthday yesterday or anything else. But yeah, it was a fun day, and I do appreciate everybody for that. And hopefully we can continue to grow this brand that I've been talking about here. So do want to tell a funny story before we get to the stuff that's on the scroll there at the bottom of the page here. I woke up I shouldn't say woke up, only because I didn't really look out of my window until like after I was up a couple hours. So it was probably about 1:30, 2 o'clock I saw it. And I saw it, but I was like, you know what? If it's still there when I go out because I wanted to go to the store, I wanted to take a picture of what I was seeing. Well, what in the world, a Christmas Vacation was parked outside my living room window today. So, and if you follow me on Instagram at Joe Quills, you will know exactly what I mean, but I'm going to share my screen here. And as always, Joe Quills is the handle there as well. So if you want to join me there. Here is what was outside my apartment this afternoon. And oops, well, first of all, let me share that here. Hold on. This was outside my apartment today. And when it got there, I don't know, but it was there when I got back from the store about 5:30, I think. Heard a couple people talking a little loudly, doing whatever, and next thing you know, I looked tonight when I was doing a couple things, starting to get ready for the show, and it was gone. So, I was starting to think, is there going to be a major construction project coming up, or do I have an Uncle Eddie moment where somebody's going to put a hose to the to the sewer and say that um, and say that you know um, the shitter's full or anything like that. But you know, didn't happen that way. But you know, it's gone. But I started having visions of Uncle Eddie cleaning out his porta potty there, or his commode in his trailer. But you know, where that went, I don't know. But be interesting. But thankfully, if you're on the Instagram app, you will love the song that I put with it. So because I quoted as saying, when did my neighborhood go redneck? Is Uncle Eddie going to tell me the shitter's full? But that was something that I saw this afternoon. I was like, oh, I got to make a joke out of this. So, and that's the thing. When you follow me on Instagram, when you follow me on X, even though my X has become more sports related and somewhat professional, even though I do come up with a bad joke every once in a while, and some that will question if they want to hire me or anything. Um, you know, Sorry about that. Um, Sometimes you just mature with age and stuff like that. Some people say, "Well, do you feel more mature?" And I'm like, "Not really." you know, you know, Old, yes. Mature, that's another story. But that's what came up today. So that's what happened in my world today. Didn't really do anything. And I do want to say one thing. I do want to apologize to those that read my Quills Picks Winners column. My whole my whole mind was not in it today. Now the article was typed up, posted, and everything. I just didn't share it like I usually do to my ex and to my Facebook for those that are Facebook friends with me. So stupid me didn't share it. And then on top of that, my top pick in the race was scratched. So I noticed that the horse was scratched with about 3 minutes of post. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just not going to do anything. Uh, so do apologize, but it is a big weekend. Got the Pennsylvania Derby on Saturday. And just want to remind you, Saturday morning, 10 a.m., also eligible. Myself and AJ Johnson. We will be talking parks as they have their big day of racing, 14 races, 11 stakes races, and you got the Pennsylvania Derby. Seize the Gray, the Preakness winner, will be there. Dragoon Guard, who has been winning graded stakes all around the country, he will be there. Um, I got 11 horses that race in the um, Cotillion, which is the 3-year-old race for fillies and mares. You have Torpedo Anna coming, which will be a fun day for that. And, you're not going to make money off of that. Also, you got Next running in the Greenwood Cup. And that is a horse that won by 25 in the slop last year. But whenever, I mean, you got to like Next because, the owner and the trainers, the connections, they figured out what he figured out what was the best way to run that horse, and they figured it out from an off the turf race. And they said, you know what? Let's take advantage of these mile and a half, mile and 3/4 races. They did, and he's been winning by football fields. So he will be there at Parks as well. You got the Turf Monster, you got the Gallant Bob, you got me being there sometime in the afternoon. Hopefully, I get my hat, and that will be covered on Saturday. What races exactly? Not sure. We're definitely going to talk cotillion. Going to definitely talk about that. We'll probably talk about bridge jumping because I guarantee you, Torpedo Anna will have an epic crap ton of money in the show pool because you have to pay $210 to show. But if you put $1 million on Torpedo Anna to show and that wins, you got to pay $210 for every ticket that should have paid $201. So $9, 9 cents times $500,000. If you look at it that way, because a show bet wager is $2 minimum, you're going to lose a ton of money. So, but that's a chance you take with making these races, because sometimes you have a horse that has an extreme advantage, and it just happens that way. So that is Saturday. Tomorrow will be a race from Aqueduct, aka Belmont at the Big A. We'll go into that as well. And also, there's racing from Presque Isle Downs. They had the Presque Isle Masters, I believe. They had 10 races, I believe, and those races, there's a couple of races that will lead into the Cotillion and the Pennsylvania Derby. There's a 2-day pick 4 and a 2-day double. So check out all those wagers as well, especially if you are a person that likes to play those pick 3s, pick 4s, pick 5s, pick 6, pick 18s, pick 69s, whatever. But I do have the Phillies game on, and it appears the Phillies are fighting back into this game here. It's now 9-6. It was 9-3. When I first thought about, when I was first advertising this on SJ's Twitch Discord, I said, you know what? We got the Phillies. We got the football game. The football game is a 14-3 game. That sucks. It was 9-3. Taiwan Walker, or as I like to call him, Chinese Taipei Walker, he showed his ways again tonight, and thankfully, in a week when the season's over, he won't be on the 26-man roster for the playoffs, hopefully, but we'll see. And we'll as we're ready for October baseball. Also, just to let you know, with next week's schedule, I said I keep teasing you guys. I'm going 4 nights a week. I'm going 9 to 11. And I think Wednesday's going to be 10 to 12, but we'll finalize that in the coming weeks. There will be no show next Wednesday because I will be at the Phillies game with my buddy Mike, and then then the first week of October, which is the week after, believe it or not, we're 3/4 of the way through the year almost. We will be going 4 days a week with the Joe Quills show, and we will also go. We'll continue the also eligibles on Saturday morning at 10 o'clock. So a lot of fun going on there. And I need to take a picture of this real quick. I missed it. All right. So I got to take a picture of that because me and SJ have a little joke that goes on every once in a while. But anyway, so history was made in Miami and then some. Shohei Ohtani became the first player to go 50-50 in Major League history. And, congrats to him. And the Dodgers are in the playoffs with that win because they win 20-4 today. Almost sounds like a football score from the CFL. did it in only he reached that milestone in only a way that he can do it. 3 home runs, 2 stolen bases, in a 6 hit game, and he had 10 RBIs as well. So a lot of crazy stuff going on, down in South Florida, and I'll be going on a rant here in a little bit as well. But anyways, you have a Dodgers team who was playing a weak Miami Marlins team, and um, they've mailed it in weeks ago. They mailed it in early in the year, actually, but here's the day for Shohei Ohtani. He opened the game with a line drive double up the wall in right center field against Miami Marlins starter Edward Cabrera. Then he picked up his 50th steal of the season, swiping third base. A second inning single was followed by a stolen base number 51. He then added a 2-run double in the third before getting thrown out trying to stretch it to a triple. Then he hit a 438-foot home run into Lone Depot's second deck in the sixth for his 49th homer. So he was that close, and then he said, let's get 50 right now. And he did. He hit a bomb. He came to bat again with runners at second and third with 2 outs in the 7th inning, prompting many to wonder whether the Marlins would pitch him. He did, and he delivered a white 1-2 curveball from Mike Baumann and lofting it over the fence and left center field for his 50th home run this season. Wait, did he have both home runs in the same inning? No, 6th and 7th. Okay. So he roared out of the first base. He roared his way up the first baseline. He stepped out of the dugout for a curtain call, celebrating with his teammates. Then he clobbered a 440-foot home run off Marlins infielder Vidal Brujan, and I will get into that in a second here. And let me just check one thing. So he had 3 home runs, 6 hits, 10 RBIs. So, but yeah, so he's the first player with 3 home runs and 2 stolen bases in a game since at least 1900. And the 10 RBI set a Dodgers record, which is pretty amazing considering the Dodgers have been around for about 150 years. Um, um, and he's the first player with that many RBIs since it became an official stat in 1920, with 5 extra base hits in a game. He's also the second player since at least 1901 with 6 hits in a game, including 5 for extra bases, and according to ESPN stats and information. So, and with that, he will be in the playoffs for the first time after 866 games in MLB without reaching the postseason, which was most among active players. So, um, you know, if there's one way that you want to break that streak that you really don't want to be a part of, just hit 3 home runs. Be the first to go 50-50. The team goes and wins 20-4. But I am going to say one thing. I've said it quite a few times, and I'm going to say it again because this is this is a hill I'm going to die on. I feel what MLB needs to do is ban all fielders, all non-pitchers to pitch in games until the other team has exhausted their entire bullpen. because guess what? It turns into slow pitch softball. And do we really want to see slow pitch softball? Not me. I don't want to see it. I want to be able to I want to be able to watch a game even though it's out of hand. I want to be able to say, you know what? This is a fun game. You know. Now, the question is, but the problem is with that, you will have a situation where um, like for example, when Ichiro was still in Major League Baseball, final game of the season, fan appreciation day at the ballpark, and I got to see Ichiro pitch. Didn't do too bad. I mean, granted, he gave up a few runs, but the thing is, if you go on YouTube and how you have to word it on YouTube, I don't know, but um, Mets score make it 10-6. So, but anyways, the one thing I would say is search that. He pitched in an All Star game. Now, what happened that he pitched in an All Star game, I'm not sure, but if it just doesn't matter at the end of the season, maybe, but or you get special dispensation from the commissioner's office for whatever reason. Um, you know, I mean, I just think what you need to do is just tell, because we have all these additional pace of play rules because, you know, let's call it what it is. And I found this out from listening to a Dan Patrick Show podcast. And the reason why, I mean, the pace of play rules where a pitch has to be thrown every 15 to 20 seconds has been in the Major League Baseball rule book since the 1950s. So you're telling me that we didn't have any pace of play rules? It was just that the umpires ignored them for the most part. And guess who they take it out on when it comes to pace of play? The players. Well, guess what? The umpires just are not doing their jobs. Now, granted, you can argue that they don't do their jobs now with calling balls and strikes like they should be, and that's a topic that Mike and I had. And personally, you know, I can understand if you're missing, for example, you miss a strike by that much, like half an inch to an inch. But when you're missing by feet, you know, that's that's why they want to put in the the automatic umpire system, whatever it's called. But I just think that you just have to realize that maybe, and also maybe because the way baseball is now presented on TV, you do have, the boxes and everything. But, baseball, if there's one thing that they need to add, because they think about tinkering these rules, and the last couple of years they've really tinkered. It's just that they have to do this one thing because, even though it's the ninth inning, even though it's 14-2, or let me see what the score was when they went into the ninth inning there. When they went into the ninth inning, the score was 14-3. Okay, so it was a football game. Now, I don't know about you. I just don't want to see slow pitch softball. You get these players coming in and pitching because it's the game's turned into a joke. It's a blowout. You know, it turns to the point where all of a sudden it's 14-3, 16-3, 20-3, and they're throwing 45-mile-an-hour meatballs when you know that they can throw at least 80 miles an hour. And you definitely see it now more and more. I mean, because it's like analytics and everything else, and oh, we don't have any analytics, but it's just put a fielder in the pitch. I just think it's I just think it's time that MLB needs to make a rule next year, and and ban this unless your opponent plays in every reliever is used. If you don't use all the relievers, can't do it. But that's just me, and unfortunately, that's never going to happen. So, um, and and you may be that you had the Dodgers today on the run line. Let's say, you sat there like, and I'm sure you're sitting there when the Dodgers are scoring six more runs. You're probably laughing because your team's winning, but you have the Dodgers on the run line, and you're just waiting forever for that game to finish up. Because that's the one thing that sucks is having to sit there and wait and wait and wait. Uh, I mean, the game only took 3 hours and 6 minutes, which is a miracle for a 20-4 game. With the old rules as of 2 years ago, well, I should say, where the umpires did not have to overtly enforce the rules, you had that game probably was going to be 4 to 4.5 hours. But the one thing is, if you did bet on it, why not use Rebet? And Rebet is one of our newest. Rebet is one of our newest partners on BleacherBrothers.com. You can go to the Bleacher Brothers main page. I think I put it in the YouTube notes, and if not, I do apologize. Let me double check YouTube here. Well, actually, I don't want to, but it's on the YouTube page. If it's not on the YouTube page, head over to BleacherBrothers.com. Though we have a few of those ads on the main page, and yes, with a $100 deposit, you get a 100% deposit match up to $100. So you put 100 in, they're going to give you 100 as well to play with. So it's a fun app. It's also a social sportsbook app where you can challenge your friends to wagers, and you can share your wagers with your friends and all that. So if you go on there, go to Rebet, the Rebet ad on the Bleacher Brothers page, especially if I did not share it in the notes. With a $100 bet, with a $100 deposit match using our code Bleacher Brothers, you get $100 free. So check it out, and it's legal in 45 states, I believe. I do know that it is. It's unavailable in Idaho and in Nevada. And I know you're saying, as I say that, hey, Joe, you said 45. That's only two. 50 minus 2 is 48. I said, and I'll say, yeah, I know. It's just that AJ says 45. I've been looking to find this out because I have somebody that may be interested in this, but they told me, well, what about my state? I said, well, let me check into it. And where I found it before, I can't find it now. So, but I'm still looking for her, and I'm still looking for you as well. So, but um, if you go to Rebet, the Rebet ad on BleacherBrothers.com, click that link. You get a 100% match deposit match up to $100 on your first deposit. So, um, it's a fun little app. I like it, and you can have some fun with that as well. So 18 and over, and also 1-800-GAMBLER. Um, 1-800-GAMBLER if you have a gambling problem. So, you know, and we will have some fun with that as well. So Rebet is our new partner with Bleacher Brothers, our newest one. And also check out the different ads that are in there, and they're there for a reason. And I thought I was going to have to mute myself there because I could hear a siren, a fire truck siren. But check out the all the ads on there because we have a partnership with Fanatics. So let's say you're looking to get your son or daughter a jersey or a T-shirt, especially now with the playoffs starting in baseball, football's really starting to get going. Um, I am in the. I cut most of that out. Uh, but the one thing I'll tell you guys is if there's an ad on the Bleacher Brothers page, it's there for a reason. So check out the entire site, Fanatics and all that, because guess what? You help out Bleacher Brothers as well. And also with the Rebet ad, if you're watching this show and you click on that link and you go to Rebet, send me the confirmation. You know, tell me that you did it, and we'll get in touch, and you can send me the confirmation or whatever, and I can get credit for it. So it's a fun app. I use it, and um, we'll see what goes on from there. So Rebet for the sports app, and you could bet the Lions game this weekend there on Rebet. But the one thing is, Dan Campbell has to go a different route to the team's practice facility and to Ford Field now. Now, I don't know when this transaction took place, but Dan Campbell has to sell his home to seek more privacy. And for some reason, now why is that? Um, Now, first of all, he said that he's selling his suburban Detroit home to get more privacy. There's plenty of space. It's on 2 acres. The home is beautiful. Campbell told Crane's Detroit business. It's just that people figured out where we lived when we lost. He didn't elaborate, but Fox 2 in Detroit reported that Campbell's home address was leaked to the public, and he and his family became the victim of pranks and harassment after tough Lions losses, including the NFC Championship game. The Campbell family has filed police reports. Now, here's the thing, and I will say this, and I I I would have been very critical of Nick Sirianni if I had time to rewatch the game. But then again, do I really want to watch the game after what I saw when I was talking to you guys on Monday night? But you know, you're encroaching on Dan Campbell's private life. Now, granted, he's a coach of a team that was in the NFC Championship game, and he does things a little bit differently than other coaches. Always gambling, going on fourth downs. And I think we are all. Bank Boy, welcome in. Hope you're doing well out there. Um, I just think Dan Campbell has done his own thing. I think we can agree, even 8 months after the fact, when Detroit was up 14 to the Niners in the third quarter, and the Niners had just kicked the field goal. Detroit was going down the field and they got stopped. Now, granted, you want to do the same things that you've done in the regular season. The Niners had about this much momentum in their favor. Well, the floodgates opened when Dan Campbell said, "You know what? I'm still going for it. A little common sense, a little bit of a realization that it is okay to go with your gut feeling instead of going with analytics 99% of the time. You know, you kick a field goal there, you're up 17, and you answered them with the field goal. Because truthfully, when you're teetering between 2 and 3 possessions there, like he was, you just have to match scores. It's like, okay, well, you scored a touchdown. We're going to score a touchdown on you right back. Oh, you kicked a field goal? Yeah, well, just kick a field goal. So it's just that, you know, whoever leaked it is a scumbag, you know, because you're not just affecting Dan Campbell, the person. You're affecting Dan Campbell, the family man. You're affecting his wife, any kids that live there, any family members that go there. You know, you think. I mean, when you first do it, you think it's real funny, but you know what? Hopefully, the person that did do that has hindsight that's 2020 and says, you know what? I should not have done that. I just think that it's a disgusting thing that they did. Because guess what? Now he has to uproot his family, and get another house. Um, Now, the Bloomfield Township Police Department in Michigan said that they are committed to the safety of all our residents. Harassment of any kind will not be tolerated. We hope that everyone, including fans, will respect the privacy of individuals and their families. But you know what? You're still going to have these knuckleheads that do this stupid shit from time to time. And you know what? And sometimes I even see it in on my Facebook page when it comes to um, Nick Castellanos' home in South Jersey. You hear about certain players' homes in certain areas. Now, as pissed off as I can be about Nick Castellanos because, you know, he always seems to come up small in the postseason and in big moments for the most part. You know, instead of going to his house and making his life miserable in real life, I'm going to turn it into a joke where I will just call him Small Dick Nick. And I did have one of my friends say, well, how do you know he has a small dick? I don't know. But if you know Philadelphia sports, you know that Nick Foles is Big Dick Nick. And that goes um, from a teammate that saw him naked in the shower and said, oh my God, that's the biggest thing I've ever seen. Or the biggest thing on a white guy. I forget if he added the white guy part, but either way, sometimes stuff like that leaks out. That leaks out from the team. Little fun things that they do from time to time, but a, a, a common Joe decides, hey, so and so lives here. You know, this is where you go to give him grief because he decided to go for it. He decided to do this. You know, now you do it to Nick Sirianni, he'll probably kick your ass. But you know, I mean, thankfully the Eagles fans have not stooped that low. And and here's the thing. Detroit hasn't really had many successful seasons over the last 20, 30, 40 years. So they're used to 3-13, 4-12. 3-13-1 was the last season, or was the season that the previous coach was fired for and ended up hiring Dan Campbell. But to harass somebody because they decided, oh, I'm just going to go for I'm not going to go for a field goal here, which is the logical play. I'm going to go with my analytics. Well, guess what? Sometimes you have to go gut feel, and you know, it's just that you, as much as I would like to go after Nick Castellanos because he strikes out 3 times chasing that low and away slider like he always does, or I want to go after Nick Sirianni because guess what? He's a dope. He decided, oh, we're going to go for it on 4th down. He had that one play where, he got the Falcons to jump in. He says, oh, we're not going to take the penalty. Then you pass on 3rd down. But you know what? If Saquon catches that ball, well, guess what? It's a genius play because they weren't expecting a pass on that play. It was just poorly executed. Okay. But, sometimes you have to go with gut feel. Now, whether that 3rd down play was gut feel or analytics for the Eagles, who knows? But whatever it was, um, it isn't like um, it's the case here with Dan Campbell where he had to move his family. Now, so I guess what happened was this was something that this harassment has gone on and off for a little while now because they talk about the NFC Championship game, they talk about the game this past weekend, um, and I don't know if it's because the interest rates dropped or whether the housing market, especially in Michigan, is a little bit upward. And who knows? Maybe you have a baseball player in Detroit who bought it. I don't know. Um, but it just says that the likely buyers are huge Lions fans, so it may not be. But either way, they listed the 7,800 square foot house in Bloomfield Hills for 4.5 million this week. A deal was pending within 24 hours. So, I mean, you put that house for sale, and all of a sudden, hey, gimme, 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 gimme. So, so obviously, someone with money already has a deal pending on this house. Um, Now, this house that Campbell was living in, was built in 2013 for Igor Larionov, a Hockey Hall of Fame member who played for the Detroit Red Wings. Um, Now, Ashley Crane, who is representing Campbell and the buyers in the sale, did say that the buyers are huge Lions fans. Now, huge, huge Lions fans with money, obviously. Um, and the Campbell family has already moved into a new home, according to Fox 2 in Detroit. Crane told Fox 2, "I feel happy for them, and they have that privacy. And I would hope all fans out there love him enough, and they give him that privacy and their family too." I mean, that's the thing. You have to give him the privacy. It's unfair to him. You know, I mean, I may not be happy about Nick Sirianni. I mean, I may not have been happy for years about Charlie Manuel. But you know what? I know how to behave myself. I know how to leave it here on my show. I know where to. I know that if I were to do something, like let's say at Parks, I harassed Charlie Manuel a little too much. Well, guess what? I'll be banned from Parks. You think I want that? No, because that's my home track. But you do have, um, you know, you do have to realize that, sitting there, being angry, and being angry, and you got your bad temper and all that. You get to a point where you're just blinded with rage, and all hell breaks loose. Well, guess what? sometimes you just need to realize, hey, I need to calm down. But um, but yeah, just don't be a dumbass. Let him live his life because it doesn't affect him; it affects his whole family. And that's the reason why I don't go after Charlie Manuel, except for on here, Nick Castellanos, Nick Sirianni, whatever. Taiwan Walker, I can add to that list. Because you know what? They don't give a shit about me doing this podcast or doing my real job, it is what it is. So just let them have their life. So also, a little football news here. First, we'll go with the more current story, and then we'll go with an older story that'll lead to my Philly fade for tonight. Um, Derek Carr, who I'd like to call Mascara Boy because it looks like he has mascara on, but it's because of how his eye color is. He was fined for his week two touchdown celebration that imitated Michael Jackson, a source told ESPN. Well, and I know what you're saying. If you did not see the celebration, I don't have the video of it, so you just have to use the mind here. Now, the touchdown celebration rules were relaxed in 2017, but there are still rules on the books that a player can be flagged for unsportsmanlike conduct for an act that is sexually suggestive or offensive. Well, what did he do? He grabbed his crotch. You know how Michael Jackson always grabbed his crotch when he danced? Well, um, that's what he did. So he grabbed his crotch, and usually, when there's a sexually suggestive dance or move or anything like that, you will get flagged. He did not. Now, I don't know if the referees weren't paying attention or they just let it slide or whatever, but um, but the fines have not become public yet for week two, at least when this article was posted. But a first time offense for unsportsmanlike conduct is $14,069, and I'm sure if SJ played in the NFL, she wouldn't like the 14,000 part, but I'm sure she would love the 69 part. But um, but yeah, so um, and by the way, the game's over in New York. The Mets win 10-6, delaying the Phillies to win the National League East for another day. Uh, well, to Saturday, I should say, because um, I'm just doing one thing here. I am switch. Oh wait, I don't even need to go to the Fire Stick, dumbass. Why can't I talk to myself? There we go. I think I'm locked in here because if not, I'll have to go to Plan B, or I just might have to keep with Plan B here. Um, there we go. So I can get rid of that. And by the way, I did find out that if you complain about the games being on Amazon on Thursday nights, well, I can confirm because I do have a burner account for Twitch, and you can watch that game without having a Prime account. So just to let you know that I did confirm that um, last week or 2 weeks ago. So just to let you know about that. So, um, but but to go back to this here, um, now the reason why uh, Derek Carr chose that celebration is because he promised his family he would do a dance by Michael Jackson if he scored a touchdown this season. Uh, Carr said after the game, people don't know a lot of stuff about me, weddings or birthdays. I'm always dancing. One time I hit the Michael Jackson. My brothers were like, bro, you have to do that if you score. And Pro Football Talk was first to announce that fine. Um, so you did have that fine there. Let me do one thing here. Um, why is this not charging? So anyway, um, my final story here before I go into the Philly fade. Um, I know this is an old story. This is from Saturday, but it leads into the Philly fade. It's a nice segue, even though it's old news. Um, Apparently, Portland State, which is in Oregon, they had an Oregon Trail game reason for canceling their game with South Dakota last week. Why is that? Because they had an outbreak of whooping cough. And I'm going to say this right now, and those that, you know, those that, you know, have their say about COVID. This isn't about the vaccine. This isn't about all the, the political bullshit that everybody put into it. You know, maybe if we didn't have a certain president, we would been able to turn masks into a fashion statement, which was my political, non-political post comment years ago when this COVID first happened. Um, but the one thing I will tell you is, if there is one good thing about COVID, and maybe in another year or two it'll turn the other way. It seems like now when we're sick, we stay home, or if we're sick, we investigate it more. We know what the major illnesses that can cause an entire team to go down, like whooping cough or COVID or anything else. You know, you can see what those diseases and viruses and stuff are like. Now, the only reason I say it is because you may have a situation where you if you're sick, you wipe out the entire office. I mean, that happened a few years ago. One of our other offices in Pennsylvania at Redacted Company. Um, but I'll tell you what. Portland State was set to host South Dakota last Saturday, following losses to Washington State and Weber State. No players within the program are seriously ill when this article was posted on the 14th. Um, Boise State had said, as of last week, we're aware of Portland State's decision to cancel game against South Dakota during health and safety protocols. We're in communication with Portland State's administration will remain so as we monitor the situation pertains to this Saturday's game. Now, it appears that, from what I can see so far, Portland State is fine. They will have enough players to play against Boise State. South Dakota faces Drake this Saturday in an FCS game. So, and what happened with the tickets, I don't know. Don't care. I'm sure if you had tickets to the game, you're on the West Coast, you are aware of that. So, um, so let's get to the next part here. You know what? I don't even need this, and I don't even know why this isn't charging. Okay. So let's get to the Philly fade here. I think we went 3-3 last week. We went 2. Did we? Well, whatever we did, I'll catch up on the stats. It'll get caught up. It's on my list of things to do over the next 4 or 5 days before I go back to work on Tuesday. But just a reminder: next week we will be Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday. I'm off from work on Wednesday, but I'm going to the Phillies game, so that means no show on Wednesday. So keep an eye out, and if you follow me on Twitch at Joe Quills, um, have those alerts ready. Have those alerts available because guess what? Um, if you're wondering where I'm at, and I'm running a couple minutes late, all of a sudden it comes up on your phone. It's like, oh, Joe's there. Let's go. And also, I mean, even though I stream to both YouTube and to X, I prefer that you come to Twitch because if you come to Twitch, I can eventually become an affiliate. So, and I think what may be happening come next month is I may be streaming to both at the same time, both the Bleacher Brothers Twitch and my Twitch, if that's possible. And if it's not possible, then we're going to do an after show. So, a little fun thing that we can do just to have fun after my show. But, we'll see what happens with that. We'll be experimenting over the next couple of weeks. So, anyways, let's get to the Philly Fade here and let me go pull up DraftKings. And, even though we do promote, I mean, we promote DraftKings, um, we promote DraftKings, we promote FanDuel, we promote Bet365, we promote all. I mean, we have like six or seven sports books that we have partnerships with. But I choose mainly because it's the fact that um, just the fact that last year when I was doing this, I decided, you know what, um, DraftKings is going to be my de facto site for posting my picks. And let me just fix one thing here. Go over here. Let's go to college football first. I got 4 college games and I got 2 programs here. And as soon as that loads up, we'll be ready to go. Let me zoom out. Do it that way. This is being a pain in the butt. Let's go back over here. All right, so we're going to have to go to FanDuel, I think. Or do I need to do this? There it is. Or no, not yet. I know what it is, but it's just that this one particular. All right, we're using FanDuel this week. Fuck it. Let's go to Duel of Fans here. Go to their sports book. Hopefully, the information will come up here for me. And it's going to ask me to log in. So, congratulations to me. I already have an account. And of course, this thing's okay. There we go. I'm verified here. So, let's begin. And first, let me just check one thing here. Okay, it is visible to you guys, so that's good. First game we're going to look at. Syracuse takes on Stanford in an ACC matchup. There's this great rivalry between two teams. Sarcasm, because it's the first time that they're going to play each other as ACC opponents. Syracuse comes into this matchup 2-0 in the season, 1-0 in the ACC. Stanford 1-1. Syracuse defeated Ohio 38-22 in week 1. Georgia Tech 2 weeks ago, 31-28. Stanford had a week 0 loss to TCU at home, and then they defeated Cal Poly, which is a 1AA or FCS school. I'm going to take Syracuse here, take the 8.5. I really like what Kyle McCord has done so far at Syracuse. Not having to be in the extreme spotlight of Ohio State, and maybe I'm wrong by saying this, but maybe he decided, well, what's his face went to, even though Marvin Harrison Jr., who went to the same high school as Ryan McCord, or Kyle McCord, I should say. I think that you are seeing Kyle McCord succeed with a school that fits his talent level, and he may be a quarterback in the NFL someday, but he gets to improve his skills at Syracuse, and I think he's going to do well against Stanford here. Let's give Syracuse the win here. It's -8.5 at -110. At least I think that was what it was. Let me double check that. Yes, it was. So that's my first pick there. And you'll see the picks on the side here, because that will be the confirmation here and what I will share to everybody. Next up, we go with the Saturday games, and we're going to go down to South Philly, where let me find it here. It's a 2:00 game, so we got to skip through all this bullshit. There we go. Utah State and Temple. Utah State is, let me go over here. Utah State is 1-2 in the season. They defeated Robert Morris 36-14 in week 1, despite that RMU cornerback making an insane interception one-handed. They got blown out by USC 48-0 to nobody's surprise. They had a lead on Utah, but ended up losing 38-21. Temple 0-3 lost to OU, Oklahoma 51-3. We called that game a couple of weeks ago. They lost to Navy 38-11, and then they played a tight game with Coastal Carolina, only losing by 8, 28-20. Now, and this is a matchup that I always tried to do on college football, NCAA college football, whatever the iterations of the game before the new game came out this year. I always made it that I played at Utah State in November because I was hoping for a snow game. But anyways, I just cannot take Temple here under any circumstances. So let's take Utah State on the road, 6.5 points. They're going to find a much easier opponent here on Saturday as opposed to Utah, who's a rival, and also USC. They get a much easier opponent, an opponent that probably would lose to Robert Morris in Temple. So let's go Utah State. Let's fade the crap out of Temple, -6.5 at -110. That's my second pick. Next, we go to an 8:00 game here. Let me find it here for you. Boston College takes on Michigan State. I think that you're seeing the Bill O'Brien effect on Boston College here. I think you're seeing that he's probably better suited to being a head coach in college as opposed to the pros. He did a great job at Penn State, even though that's hard for me to say because personally I think Penn State should have been given a permanent death penalty for all the crap that happened there under Jerry Sandusky and Joe Paterno. They're taking on Michigan State. Um, Boston College comes into this game after a loss to Missouri State. They upset. Um, they ups. Well, I'm not sure if you can call it an upset. They defeated Florida State 28-13 at the beginning of the year. At least we considered it an upset because Florida State was favored in that game, despite the fact that you had a team that was you have a Florida State team which is absolute horseshit this year. In between there, they played Duquesne and won 56-0. Michigan State, they are 3-0. They held on to beat Bleacher Brothers partner in college sports, Florida Atlantic, aka FAU. They defeated Maryland by 3, and they defeated Prairie View by 40-0. Um, I think Boston College playing at home, playing at night, I think that's going to help them out a lot here. Michigan State really hasn't really been tested by tough teams. I don't know how tough Maryland is, and you won't be able to get a gauge on Maryland this week because they're playing Villanova. But either way, I'm going to take Boston College here. I think the Bill O'Brien effect is working there. So let's take Boston College -6.5 at -110. And then we're going to go to, if it's on here, yes, it is. Um, you know, this is a game where you're going to say, Joe, you're going for the low hanging fruit. And like I've told you a million times, I don't really like to play these games either way. But I will tell you that with the whooping cough case that Portland State had, I mean, it's tough enough that you're playing an FBS school and an FBS school that is the defending Mountain West champions. Now, granted, they're not an Oregon. They're not a Penn State. They're not a Michigan. But you know what? They're still a team that can wreak havoc on the college football landscape. They're playing Portland State. I'm sure Portland State has had all kinds of issues with practicing, getting ready for this game. And I'm sure if there was an issue with this with Portland State, they probably would have canceled this game already. But I'm going to take Boise State here, -41.5. I hate taking huge odds like this, but we'll do it. Boise State -41.5 at -110. So all these wagers are -110s, which basically means you're betting $110 to win 100. That is Syracuse -8.5 at home. Utah State -6.5 on the road at Philly in Philly against Temple. Boston College -6.5 -110, and Boise State -41.5 at -110. And these are on FanDuel this week because for whatever reason I just could not get those get those wagers up for everybody here, or get that page up like I usually do. So those are my 4 picks. And then we're going to go to the NFL here in a second. I'm just doing one thing here. Okay, so there we go. We're going to go to the NFL here. Let me see if I can do this here. Now I got to go. And forgive me, there we go. So we have the 4 college games. Let's clear that page here. I gotta do it this way, which is a pain in the ass. Boom. Oh, there it is. Remove all selections. Duh. So as you see there, New England is losing big to the Jets, 21-3. I have the game on, but haven't been able to keep track here. I got three games here in the NFL for you here. Let's begin. We're going to pick the Eagles Saints game, but we're going to hold that to the end. As you know, I always pick the Eagles game as an Eagles fan, so we'll get into that in a second. But first, let's go to Seattle. Miami goes to Seattle, has that long flight from the one extreme end of the country to the other in the continental United States. Skylar Thompson takes over for the Dolphins with Tua's concussion injury. He's in concussion protocol. He's on IR, so he's out at least the next 4 weeks. But I just think when you look at this, I think 4.5 is not enough here. Now, Miami still has weapons, but the thing is, you got a dog shit quarterback. And, Geno Smith, he's matured into a nice quarterback in his later years of his career. I'm going to take advantage of that. Kenneth Walker's supposed to be back this week as well. He missed last week's game. Let's go with the Seahawks, -4.5 at -110. I think Seattle may win by double digits here. Next, we'll go to the desert. And I was really impressed with Arizona last week when I was watching that game through the let's see here. SJ is texting me. So my second pick here, I'm looking at the Detroit Lions and the Arizona Cardinals. I think Detroit. And you're going to say, Joe, you're nuts, because sometimes I tell you some things that aren't X's and O's. I'll tell you something that may be more psychological than anything else. But truthfully, I think Detroit has to realize that they're a hunted team this year, even though they're not the hunted team in the NFL or in the NFC. And I think Arizona is hungry. They're going to want to prove that last year was a disaster, even though they did end up surprising a lot of teams down the stretch. But they got their wide receiver. They got a good quarterback in Kyler Murray, even though you kind of question him as a quarterback because what was the game he used to play? Call of Duty? They question whether he was studying and all that. But I think, maybe he has finally has matured. And I liked everything that they did against the Rams. Now, it's very possible Detroit could wake up and blow them out. But I really think the Arizona Cardinals have the opportunity to upset the Lions here. Now, granted, I will tell you, why, when there's the -1.5 with the Ravens game, the chances of, or if you had Dallas here, why go -1.5? Why waste 20% on the VIG when you can only lose 4% winning outright because the chances of that, but that's neither here nor there. But I'll tell you what, Arizona may be a sneaky team this year. They have some weapons. Kyler Murray's back. And, I think that we're starting to see, granted, it may be an Arizona team that ends up going 7-10, 8-9, 9-8, and they just missed the playoffs. But they're going to be a tough team to play this year, no matter who you're playing against. So I think that Arizona will win this game outright. I'm going to take Arizona on the money line, +128. So Arizona +128 is my second pick. And then my third pick, because I always pick the Eagles game, no matter how good or how bad they are. And the one thing you will find out with me over time is that I am not afraid of picking against my Eagles. My buddy Mike, who I was hanging out with on my birthday yesterday, um, he knows that even though I am an Eagles fan, I'm about making money. Um, I feel that the Eagles are going to bounce back here. Now, I will also tell you that the New Orleans Saints played a high school team in week one in Carolina, and they played a defense that's reminiscent of a Big 12 school in the Dallas Cowboys. Now, could they be a team that sneaks up on everybody? Well, sneaks up in regards to how everybody was thinking that the NFC South won't do anything this year. It's possible. But I think that sneaking up on somebody because of the fact that sneaking up on somebody in week two on a nationally televised game, well, relatively speaking, because of the fact that you're playing the Dallas Cowboys, you got the number one crew there. It's going to most of the sites around the country, most of the Fox markets in the United States. And they blow out the Dallas Cowboys when the Dallas Cowboys were um, had won 16 straight games at home. Um, but I'll tell you what, a lot of a lot of those problems with the Eagles on Monday night were self-inflicted. You know, I get annoyed by Nick Sirianni going for it a lot on fourth down. Now, if it's 2 yards or less, you got the ultimate weapon in sports, and that's the tush push, aka brotherly shove, whatever you want to call it. Now, Jalen Hurts had a fairly clean game in terms of interceptions until the end of the game. And that was a bad interception. But, when you're pressing like that in the final 30 seconds, maybe you give him somewhat of a pass, but not that much of a pass. But, if you think about it, Nick Sirianni declined a penalty that would have been a first down. They decided to throw the ball on third down, which, if you think about it, is a good play. But in the end, when you have Jalen Hurts, who could tush push 3 yards if he really needed to, you can hand it off to Saquon Barkley. I understand why they did it because, okay, they're expecting to run. Let's do a pass out in the flat, which, was off target. Those things happen. But I'll tell you what, you could see, I mean, who knows? Maybe this is a playoff matchup. Now, the Giants aren't any good. The um, the Commanders, they're probably a year away. Dallas, you wonder, have you, is this something that was that something that you can piggyback on for other weeks when you have a half decent quarterback at the very least? Because we know Deshaun Watson is only worried about the happy endings at massage parlors. He's not worried about basketball or football or anything else anymore. But I think there may be a course correction here when it comes to New Orleans Saints. Yeah, they scored 6 straight touchdowns on the Dallas Cowboys. And maybe there is a hangover where the Dallas Cowboys will play well on the road, but play like dog shit on the road because they played like dog shit in that playoff game against Green Bay. But with the Eagles, you have to wonder, well, is this hangover from that 10-1 start, finishing 11-6, and then losing in the wild card round? is that going to be in their minds as well? You know, and also you're trying to get used to a new offense. You're getting used to a new defensive scheme with Vic Fangio, but I think that the Eagles are going to get on track here. They're going to steal this game here. So if you can call it stealing a game, but it's 2.5 points, which tells me neutral field. This is pretty much a pick'em game. I'm going to go with the Eagles here, plus 128. And I'll tell you what, I'm not afraid to picking against my team. It's just not this week. So my pro pick, Seattle, minus 4.5, minus 110, and two money lines at plus 128. Ironically, the same amount. Arizona and the Eagles. Arizona over the Lions and the Eagles down on the Bayou in New Orleans. So that is it for now. I do appreciate everybody for coming out here tonight. Let me just check one thing. I don't have anybody to raid to tonight. So, and that's one thing why I want to try to keep this show on here as well as on Bleacher Brothers, because if I have control here, I can raid out. Because if I can raid out, that gets more eyes potentially here. But I don't have anybody that I want to raid to here. So we're just going to call tonight. Just a reminder, this Saturday, we're going to do all things Pennsylvania Derby with also eligible with me and AJ Johnson. The races exactly we're looking at, not sure. We may be jamming about 6-7 races in an hour and a half, but we'll see there. And, just want to show you this this ad that I created. And, if you're looking for somebody who can do this, hopefully in one take without screwing up, let me tell you a little more about Saturday. And I also have this on closed captioning for whatever reason. So let me share my screen here one more time tonight. Let me add the scene here. And there you go. Hey guys, Joe Quills from Bleacher Brothers here, live at Parks on this Wednesday afternoon. Just want to remind you that we will be covering the Pennsylvania Derby and Cotillion on Also Eligible, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific on the Bleacher Brothers channels. And who knows, maybe you get to see me up there sometime Saturday afternoon. BleacherBrothers.com, we got you all covered for the Pennsylvania Derby and Cotillion. Hey guys. So that's also eligible at 10 a.m. First race at Parks is 11:35 p.m. The Cotillion goes off about 5:30, I think, and then the Derby's about 6:05. And the thing is, with this time of the year, with it turning fall this weekend, I believe, Parks is a track with no lights, so you get into trouble if you get behind and running those races, because you start running out of daylight. So, but they have a 14 race card on tap, 11 stakes races. We'll definitely be looking at the Cotillion. We'll definitely be looking at the Pennsylvania Derby. We'll also be looking at the Gallant Bob and also the Turf Monster. And if we can fit anything else in that show, we will. So it's an hour and a half of fun. Our goofy way of handicapping. I will probably sound like the more professional of the two, but we'll see what happens with that. So, and also, if you're a person that likes those gimmick doubles and pick fours, there is a commingling of the races tomorrow at Presque Isle Downs. They do have a double, which is a race at Presque Isle with a race at Parks. And there is a Pennsylvania Pick 4 as well, where it's two stakes races. There are two signature races at Presque Isle with the Cotillion and the Derby. So So that is it for now. I do want to thank Bank Boy for joining me and everybody who may have joined me that is keeping silent today, and that's fine as well, because you know I'm okay with everybody talking and chatting. I understand a lot of people like to lurk as well. So that's it for now. I do appreciate everybody, and we'll do it live Monday here at twitch.tv/Joe Quills, on YouTube at Joe Quills, on X at Joe Quills. And we'll do it live also Saturday morning on the Bleacher Brothers platform if we're also eligible. So have a great night, everybody. Let's do it live Saturday morning and on Monday night.